This is part 2 of a multi-part series on Arabella Advisors, the third pillar of election integrity. Go to mgshow.link/Arabella to follow along and for more information. All links will be in the description.
The 1630 Fund, which is managed by Arabella Advisors, which is the largest Democrat dark money network in the country and considered public enemy number one.
Welcome to the next installment of Arabella Advisors, the third pillar of election integrity. Part 2. What is needed to launch the perfect foreign dark money network? Bring in a foreign billionaire megadonor with a seedy past, Hans-Jörg Weiss. He comes with his own Weiss Foundation and Weiss Action Fund. It would help if you had a way to move the money around. This is accomplished with the 501c3 and 501c4. Now you have the beginnings of a dark foreign network with the for-profit consulting firm Arabella Advisors managing it all. For context, let's take a closer look at foreign billionaire Hans-Jörg Weiss and his past dealings. He was the CEO and chairman of a billion-dollar medical company called Synths. It was alleged that the company was accused of ignoring FDA regulations. This caused at least 3 patients to lose their lives. Public records showed that in 2009, 4 Synths execs were indicted and went to prison. Hans-Jörg Weiss, however, remained untouchable. Hans-Jörg Weiss resigned as CEO but stayed on as chairman of Synths. In 2012, Synths was acquired by Johnson & Johnson for just under $20 billion. Hans-Jörg Weiss was also a mega-donor for the Clinton Foundation. He injected millions into the Clinton machine. Since then, Hans-Jörg Weiss has quietly become an important foreign asset to the left's foreign dark money network, perhaps more significant than George Soros.
On the internet, people can be anything they want to be. That's why we tell kids to be careful and not to trust strangers they meet online. But people aren't the only ones who can claim to be something they're not on the web. Some organizations act like popular American movements, but in fact are anything but that. A slew of grassroots movements on the left are actually just megaphones for one Swiss billionaire,
Hans-Jörg Weiss.
Mr. Weiss. Hans-Jörg Weiss.
Who is this mysterious figure, and how did an uber-rich Swiss national end up funding fake advocacy on the American left? Weiss is the former CEO of the Synths Group, a Swiss medical device company with a less than stellar record of scientific integrity. But despite his company injecting human subjects with a bone cement with lethal results, Weiss amassed billions of dollars from his business ventures, and today he's using that money to fund murky far-left groups from the shadows. One of Weiss's top collaborators is Arabella Advisors, a consulting agency that specializes in creating fake grassroots websites to support far-left causes. Weiss has given the group $57 million since 2009. Arabella has created over 350 pop-up organizations parading as grassroots nonprofits, when in reality they're all run out of the same office by the same staff, much of it with Weiss's financial backing. Weiss also has his own Arabella-run group, the Hub Project, which is set up in the same way. But he didn't stop his mission to intervene in American politics there. Earlier this year, Weiss put in a major bid to buy Tribune Publishing, the group that controls the Chicago Tribune, the Baltimore Sun, the Daily News, and other top newspapers. Had this bid gone through, Weiss would have gained undeniable, far-reaching control over American media. But after his megadonor status was exposed by CRC and the New York Times, Weiss pulled his bid. Even with the Swiss billionaire no longer a contender for this massive media ownership, it's troubling to think about someone with such staunch, biased political leanings controlling American newspapers from the shadows. So the next time you look at a grassroots campaign or a non-profit political advertisement, do your research. Ask yourself, are real Americans really supporting this? Is this as grassroots as it looks? Because, as the case of Hans-Jörg Weiss shows us, advocacy is not always what it seems. To follow the money and the bias of thousands of organizations, go to InfluenceWatch.com, a project of the Capital Research Center.
How it works. On March 22, 1983, the Supreme Court ruled a 501c3 organization may establish a separate 501c4 to expand its capacity to lobby beyond the limited expenditures allowed for a 501c3. 501c3 organizations, often referred to as public charities, may use tax-deductible donations to study essential policy issues and educate the public. Still, the amount of lobbying they may do is limited, and they are forbidden from supporting or opposing candidates for elected office. 501c4 organizations, often referred to as social welfare organizations, may participate in an unlimited amount of legislative lobbying and a limited amount of electoral activity. Still, they may not offer the incentive of a tax deduction to their contributors. A 501c3 organization may join multiple 501c3 and 501c4 organizations for any purpose consistent with its exempt status, such as conducting research or preparing and publicizing materials on a current issue. A 501c3 may also join other 501c3 and 501c4 to lobby on issues. However, a 501c3 may not do anything indirectly through the group that it cannot do individually. It can participate in multiple 501c3 and 501c4 to exchange non-electoral information or sponsor educational programs on issues of interest to the groups. A 501c3 may also conduct voter registration, voter education, and get-out-the-vote activities, so long as these activities appear to be nonpartisan. Next, we examine how dark money is moved around. We will start with the funds Arabella Advisors manages. The 1630 Fund 501c4 is a left-of-center lobbying and advocacy organization founded in 2008. 1630 Fund often operates alongside its charitable sister nonprofit New Venture Fund, which provides similar funding and fiscal sponsorship services to left-of-center organizations. Both groups, along with the Hopewell Fund and Windward Fund. The New Venture Fund 501c3 is a dark money organization, serving as a way for left-leaning groups to anonymously funnel money toward various political advocacy issues, such as attacking vulnerable Republicans or pushing environmental restrictions. New Venture Fund was previously called the Arabella Legacy Fund from 2006 to 2009. The Hopewell Fund is a 501c3 established in 2015. The Hopewell Fund often operates alongside its sister nonprofits, primarily the 501c4 1630 Fund and 501c3 New Venture Fund, which both provide similar funding and fiscal sponsorship services to left-of-center advocacy organizations. The Windward Fund 501c3 was created in February 2015 as a 501c3 nonprofit with startup funding of $5.25 million provided by an unknown source. The fund is an environmentalist fiscal sponsor organization in the network of dark money organizations. The North Fund 501c4 was created in February 2019 as a 501c4 nonprofit with startup funding of $9.3 million provided by the 1630 Fund. The fund is a lawfare fund set up with Perkins Coie and Mark Elias Law Group for statewide ballot and gerrymandering initiatives. The 51 for 51 campaign to make D.C. a state and operates Mark Elias's Democracy Docket Action Fund is part of the Lawfare Initiative. Mark Elias, Perkins Coie, Shell 2, the Democratic National Committee's private law firm, formed Elias Law Group, 8/22/21. The purpose of Mark Elias Law Group is lawfare. Mark Elias North Fund is Arabella Advisors' in-house counsel, redistricting maps and fighting against election integrity to give Democrats an edge in upcoming elections. All funded by F, foreign, and D, domestic billionaires. Arabella Advisors, a for-profit consulting behemoth, has long been at the heart of managing nonprofits that funnel untraceable funds into the political sphere, primarily benefiting left-leaning groups. The incorporation of the Telescope Fund into its arsenal represents a strategic move to further veil the origins of political donations. This development, as reported by the Washington Free Beacon and confirmed by Arabella Advisors' spokesperson, places the firm at the epicenter of a burgeoning dark money network. The Telescope Fund, originally a subsidiary of the New Venture Fund under Arabella's umbrella, gained independent 501c3 status from the IRS in 2023, solidifying its role in the complex domain of political funding. Despite its success, the Telescope Fund and its parent network face scrutiny over the ethical implications of their operations. The District of Columbia Attorney General is currently investigating the new venture fund for potential violations of charity laws, specifically concerning its support for Democratic candidates. The fund's reliance on anonymous donations raises questions about the transparency and accountability of political funding. Critics argue that such mechanisms obscure the true influence of wealthy donors on American democracy, potentially skewing public policy in favor of undisclosed interests. This has been the second of a multi-part series on Arabella Advisors. Stay tuned for Part 3 of Arabella Advisors, the third pillar of election integrity.